My name is Ernesto Vasquez, otherwise known as Junior. You can feel free to call me either or, whichever is more comfortable for you. I also respond to "Hey, dude." Today's topic is our ECL-ACC850, which is our multi-mode biometric access control reader. This thing is also Wi-Fi enabled, which makes it very easy to install and very adaptable to several applications. It can work as a Wiegand reader, or it can work in standalone mode, where even standalone mode is somewhat of a misnomer because, as you guys will see during this presentation, the reader very much has a mobile app component that makes managing and interfacing with the reader very simple, very streamlined. The reader also has a onboard relay to control your mag locks or your door strikes or any other door lock you might want to go ahead and deploy. It has built-in door sensor and also push to exit button sensor relays. So you'll be able to wire all of your peripherals right to the reader. The reader does have nice backlit keypad, which you will also see in the next couple of minutes as I show you guys this model I have here. And the relay output supports both pulse and toggle mode. So you can have it set to your traditional mode where it'll just hold the door open for whatever amount of seconds we have defined in the configuration, or you can set it to leave the door open until the next time a valid access mode is triggered. I don't think there's too much value in getting into the weeds down here as far as the advanced specs. So I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get right into it. First, I will show you guys some of the operation of the reader itself, how the different methods to access. And then what we'll do is after I show you guys that, and after I show you guys the app and how the app works, we'll go ahead and disassociate the reader from my app. And that way you guys can see the initial setup from A to Z and how easy and quick that is. And, hopefully you guys will walk away with a good sense of how we struck such a nice balance here of a professional commercial grade product that also has the simplicity and the interfacing of a more streamlined type of application. So if you'll allow me here. Okay, the reader I have here on my desk is actually door 2. To it. And you'll notice here the status is showing as closed. Now, obviously, I went ahead and programmed some of these devices in advance to be able to show you guys. But again, for the second part of the webinar, when we configure the reader back onto the app, I will also show you guys how I configure an NFC sticker, a fingerprint, a PIN code, as well as a proximity card. So we'll start with the biometric. As you can see down here, we have our fingerprint sensor. Let's go ahead and press that. And the green light means we have access. If you're looking at the app on your screen, you will have noticed that the unlock status did change to open. I'll go ahead and go through that one more time so you guys can see what that looks like. Fantastic. So we see that we can open it with our fingerprint. We also have a proximity card, which I may not have left configured correctly. Oh, there you go. Okay, we have access. We have this very handy NFC sticker. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these NFC stickers and NFC chips that are getting real popular out there, but these things are really convenient. You can stick them to the back of, inside your cell phone case, onto a badge, an ID badge. There's the sky's the limit with these things, but in any event, you get one of your NFC stickers, you program it to work with the reader, you can use that to open. And of course, you can also use the traditional, by the way, there's your backlit keypad. It's got a nice, elegant blue shade. We can always use a simple PIN code to go ahead and open the door. And I'll go ahead and let you know at this moment that this is the doorbell button on the reader, which is nice because if your guest, for example, walks up and just presses that doorbell button, you'll go ahead and get a push notification that someone is at your door. That's nice. And also, the reader can be unlocked by using this press to unlock button that you're seeing if you're looking at my screen share and looking at the app. I'll go ahead and press that and hold it for a second or two. And that will also give us access. As you can see, getting in, once you have the reader all set up, is a cinch. You have arguably 5 different ways to access. And that's pretty much what you need from a product like this. It's nice and vandal proof. It's got nice, elegant piano finish. The very easy and clear to see LED status indicator. So now that we have the app here on the screen, we can see, for example, that we have the ability to manage users. In this case, I myself am in here as the administrator. If I wanted to, I can add another user as an administrator, which means that they also have permission to create PIN codes or to add, enroll fingerprints and things of that nature. Or I can add ordinary members, which is basically just creating users that I can assign a PIN code to or have them enroll their fingerprint or whatnot, but they will not have permissions to edit any of those properties. We can also create a temporary code, which is nice. You can create a code for someone that will work for a certain amount of time by creating an effective date. Or you can change it to once mode, and that way that code is literally just available for use as a one-time thing. And on the app here, we also have this short event log that'll basically show us the last few times that we unlocked the door. It shows you whether it was, via fingerprint, whether it was a card, which is very useful. And down here in our settings, we have the ability to remote unlock. We have our permission settings. We toggle the auto lock time, the ability to auto lock, and the alarm time. These are all just, basic things that you want to make sure you have set up properly for your reader. You can even adjust the key volume if you wanted to and mute it all together if you wished to do so. And oh, you know what? I almost missed a very important method of opening the door. And if you'll give me a second, I see we have some chats here. Oh, by the way, I apologize, guys. I kind of jumped straight into this and I forgot to let you guys know that for the most part, we try to keep these things relatively casual and informal in the sense that if you guys at any moment do have a question, or if I say something that maybe, immediately hits your ears wrong and you need some clarification on, you're more than welcome to go ahead and jump in the chat and either send me a private message if you don't want the rest of the group to know what you're asking, or you can just go ahead and send a group message. And in either case, I'll do my best to address your question in front of the whole group. And obviously, if you wrote to me in private, I won't mention your name. Other than that, I did mute all of you at the beginning of this just to cut down on background noise and things like that. But if you have a, important question or an urgent question, feel free to unmute yourselves and jump in. Otherwise, I'll try to stop every once in a while, like at, moments like this, and field any questions you guys have out there. That being said, we do have someone asking how many events the reader can store. That's a good question. And I want to say it was somewhere towards 10,000. But I see that I don't have that exact number in front of me, and I do not want to start false rumors. So I'll definitely find out before we go offline. I definitely have more resources here that I can lean on.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. If you just give me one quick second, let me make a note so that I can make sure we go back to okay, sorry. Yes, go for it.
All right. So these controllers,
it can be used in, it does have Wiegand output and input.
okay.
I mean, we recommend that you use it in the standalone mode because that's where you get to use the app and all of those kind of cool features. But you absolutely don't have to. You can just take advantage of you can just use it as a Wiegand fully. That's not
Right.
a
So
problem.
like I'm thinking like a corporation, right? Like, the type of installation that I wouldn't normally put this into. I'm doing an installation like this right now, as a matter of fact. And they have employee badging, right? And they've got, and so they're not going to go away from the employee badge because they like for all their employees to identify themselves because they're a big company and they want, and they want to know, okay, you got a badge, you belong here. You don't have a badge, you probably don't belong here. And so while this technology of the Bluetooth opening or the Wi-Fi opening is great, especially for like say, for instance, you have a security guard or a receptionist that needs to be able to unlock doors for guests. This is an excellent feature, right? It's an excellent feature. It definitely opens up that capacity of a centralized, releasing of doors so that somebody who's visiting doesn't need to carry around a credentialed badge. But this is my question. Okay, so if it's 12 volt, so is there a centralized 12 volt power supply that's running to feed all of these units? What's the structure of this for installation purposes?
Well, the reader itself just has the 12 volt leads right on the back of it. So if you want to centralize the power, that's what I would do 100%. But really, it's up to you. I mean, on the opposite side of that coin is like you could put a 12 volt transformer close to it and just power it that way, which I would never do. But I'm saying to illustrate that it's up to the installer how you're going to power it, because it's up to you. It's this thing just needs 12 volts. So if you want to centralize it back to a secure, the main control room, which is what I would recommend, you can 100% do that. If it's just one door and you want to just get 12 volts somewhere nearby, you have that option too. It's just 12 volts. So it's however you want to design the powering.
So as long as it's got Wi-Fi, or it also works on Bluetooth or just Wi-Fi?
Just Wi-Fi, but for the application you're describing, I don't see why you even need the Wi-Fi part of it. That's more to control it through the app.
To control it through the app, but to be able to control it through the app, it's got to be connected to the Wi-Fi, right?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. The situation you describe of just using it as a Wiegand reader, then you wouldn't need any of that. You would just use the on. It has like just like the rest of our readers, you can just walk up to it and key in at that point, add whatever user, whatever users and whatever else.
Okay, so it's got keypad function that you can program by the keypad.
100%, man. Yeah, sorry, I was gonna get to that when we get to the whole setup part, but yeah, basically you can set it up through the keypad if you didn't have a way of getting it through the app, for example.
And all of them are keypad, or do you have some that are not keypad that are just the reader?
The model that we're covering today, the 850, has a keypad.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome, Papa. But no Bluetooth. I want to make sure I didn't throw you guys off there. It's Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth. But no, yeah, I love it, man. Those questions are good because there's a good chance I'm not going to remember to tell you guys all the things that I want to make sure you know. So when you guys throw questions like that at me, it's perfect because it makes me like, oh yeah, we could do this. Oh yeah, we could do that. So I sure appreciate
Good
it.
morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I have a question. It's waterproof. The reader is waterproof.
Yes, it is. It is rated. It is outdoor rated for sure. I mean,
Okay,
waterproof.
that means
I'm trying to be careful
that
here.
means-
Let's say it's weather resistant, right? I
whether
wouldn't
okay.
put
Yes.
it in a
Okay.
bucket of water.
Yes. I have a question. If I have a guest that have, let's say, place, can they use that? You know, it's.
I'm gonna need you to repeat that. You broke up pretty bad. I
Okay.
didn't catch most of that.
If I have a few guests that have Airbnb, and they will like to have something like that they can, you know, they don't have to be on the place to give access to the guests. They can use something like that.
Absolutely. That's what I would 100% in that case take advantage of the temporary code. Or with the temporary code, you can say, look, here's a code that only works for the next 5 days. After that, that code no work no more. That would be perfect for Airbnb.
Wi-Fi, it's out. It's still working. Is that not? If the Wi-Fi is not working, my internet is a little bit bad. But if the Wi-Fi is not working, the system, if internet is not there,
So the reader is gonna keep whatever information it had when the internet was lost. So to give you an example, if right now I want to create a code for you to be able to get in until from today till next week, if I create the code right now and I say save and I have Wi-Fi going to my reader, it will give the reader the configuration, right? And then after that, if the reader loses internet, loses Wi-Fi, that's okay, because the reader still has that code and it knows that it only works until Monday, and it will still respect those rules, even though now you won't be able to add any new temporary code, and you will not be able to manually open for them until your internet comes back. But the reader will have already the temporary code in there with the schedule. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Okay, that means it's recommend that I put a separate power that if you don't have the Wi-Fi, it won't be able to unlock the door.
Papa, you're breaking up
really
bad.
Okay, I will write.
So yeah, send it through the chat. That's a great idea. Perfect.
Okay, I'll do that.
Junior, I've got a question.
Sure.
With the Wi-Fi features, I'm getting ready to install one of these in a location that is I won't say it's government, but it's more or less like a school type program.
Okay.
Is this unit able to be hardwired, or does it need Wi-Fi for it to be used? And does it have a hardwired Ethernet feature to it?
Unfortunately, it is only through Wi-Fi. That's a very good question, but no, it does not support hardwire. It would have to be added through Wi-Fi. And as a matter of fact, I want to make sure you guys also understand that this works with 2.4. So you want to make sure that if you know a lot of Wi-Fi access points these days, you might find will only have 5 gigahertz enabled. So for these things to work, you definitely want to make sure that you can get them to enable that 2.4 network.
All right, so that's why it leads me to my next question. So like I said, I'm dealing with a I guess it's like it's a special place with this needing the Wi-Fi capability. If this place does not have Wi-Fi, I'm going to need to create a Wi-Fi network for this device to work, correct?
That is correct. You would have to essentially create an access point somewhere where it would make sense for the signal, or one or more, depending on the layout, physical layout. But yes, essentially you'd have to figure out a way to get them on that wireless network.
Okay. So I would, in situations where that's the case, I would need to get their IT department involved in helping set up this device, or at least get this device connected to their network, correct?
That is correct. And I mean, I do want to remind you that I can see that being a challenge if there's something about this reader in particular that you need for that project. But I do want to remind you at this time that we do have a full line of readers that majority of them, if not all of them, actually do have hardwire connection. So I do want to make sure that if you do have some needs, that you know that we do have other options. Today's webinar is just focused on this guy because it's new to the line, but we absolutely have many hardwire models that share many of the same features. So I wouldn't want to discourage you from approaching us with that project to see how we can help. But to answer your question, on this model in particular, absolutely, you would have to get it on the Wi-Fi. Absolutely.
All right. One last question about the Wi-Fi part. If Wi-Fi is not, is there a way to, I'm assuming there's a way to link like your cell phone Wi-Fi locally to the device to get its programming done and then disconnect and let it just save the local programming?
That's essentially exactly how you get it onto your network and how you get it onto the app, which again, as soon as we're done with this little question answer thing, I'm going to go ahead and go into that and show you guys how that works. But yeah, that's actually a big part of it. Like literally the way that, again, not to get too ahead of myself, but the way that you get it onto your phone and onto the network is by making sure that your phone is first connected to that 2.4 network that you want to associate the reader with. And then you use the app to go through. It's very simple. You'll see when I show you guys in just a few minutes. You just go through some real quick steps where it says like, okay, is the device on the network? And you say yes. It pretty much just finds it automatically, but it does transfer that Wi-Fi information from that the network that your phone is on is essentially the network that you're telling the reader to inherit, if that, for lack of a better word. So yes,
okay.
Yeah, you're essentially using your phone to associate that reader with that Wi-Fi connection. You'll see, it sounds way more complicated than it is in practice.
No, it sounds fairly easy. I'm just wondering, for example, if the customer has no Wi-Fi network at all for the phone to link to, nor the unit to link to, can I link the unit just directly to the phone with no network in between?
Oh,
kind of like linking my phone to a Wi-Fi extender. Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I totally went in a very wrong.
No, you're good. I think I may have misrepresented the question.
You're totally okay. I'm actually glad you brought that up because that's actually an interesting thing to think about. I can see how if my customer does not have Wi-Fi, but I want to make sure that they can use this reader, I would have to at least for the first initial setup, I don't see why I wouldn't be able to. I should be able to create a hotspot on their phone or even my phone. Go ahead and get it attached to the app, add whatever PIN codes, add whatever cards, fingerprints. And then after that, you would just have to that configuration will stay in the reader and your customer doesn't have to have that hotspot enabled all the time. The only drawback there is that they wouldn't be able to take advantage of the button in the app that lets you open the door in real time, right? But at least with that, you can use the hotspot to do the initial configuration of the reader, and then the reader even without the connection from that point on will still respect your PIN codes, your fingerprint, your cards. Again, you just won't have that interactivity in real time between the reader and the app. And let's say 6 months down the line, your customer says like, hey, I want to change the PIN code. It's like, okay, well, one of us is going to have to get on, open up a hotspot again so we can get the reader on, talking to the app just to change the configuration, and then you can knock it back off. It's not an ideal situation, but I'm trying to make do with what you're, with the example you're giving me. And I don't see why it wouldn't work, at least to that extent, if that helps. Did I lose you guys? Did I drive off a nerd cliff?
No. Well, okay. Not for me, you didn't. That helps. Okay. I was just wondering because I do have a customer that takes a jetpack hotspot in and out of his location. So I'm just wondering how efficient that would be with that type of situation.
Yeah, I mean, again, it wouldn't be ideal because you wouldn't have that ongoing connection, you know, kind of thing. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Did you say he has a dedicated hotspot? Because that would
No,
actually,
no,
okay.
he would be taking a jetpack in and out. So I'm just wondering, is there a way to configure this without his jetpack being involved and stuff like that?
I hear you. No, man. Yeah, that's the best I have for you, that you can take advantage of, at least for, you know, initial setup, and then leaving the reader with whatever configuration you want it to follow. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I could see it working. You would just lose the ability to open the door from the reader, which again, I keep on getting pulled away from something that I've been meaning to show you guys. So I'm gonna keep answering your questions. I just want to make sure that I put in front of me my Amazon Echo, because I haven't showed you guys how you can open this thing with your voice. I'll be right back. 1 second. All right. Now, while that's firing up, and I'm sorry, I hope I didn't leave in the middle of anyone asking me anything. If we were, I thought we were ready to move on to the next one, but if any of the guys that are mic'd up, you know, still had anything else for me, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna start answering some of these questions in the chat. Okay, right on. Okay, so in the chat, how many events does the reader store? My team is working on that as we speak. So I'll definitely get back to you guys about that. I don't want to leave anything unaddressed if we can help it. What is the max amount of days for the temporary code? I don't think it had a max. I believe you guys can still see my screen here. Yep. Okay. So temporary code, I can make this code effective till like forever, I want to say. Yeah. Well, at least till 2032. How about that? We could do like a 9-10 year outlook on the temporary code. Good question. I would have thought it was infinite, but there you go. I suppose there's always limitations. Next, the events can be recalled via the logs. Yeah, you know, it's not like super intricate, but you can pretty much get the sauce, you know, the meat and potatoes of what you want to know here, which is the time, the user, which of course these all just say me because it's just me. But if I would have added, you know, Bill, Bob, or John, it would tell me specifically which one of my users used either a password or a card or a fingerprint. It's pretty specific, you know. Next question. If your Wi-Fi fails, will it still open the door? Well, again, if the Wi-Fi fails, excuse me, if the Wi-Fi fails, the reader is going to hold on to whatever the last configuration was. So if I already have, like this reader, this is a good example. This reader already has my card, right? My finger, my PIN code, all that stuff's already in there. Even if my Wi-Fi goes away right now and my internet goes away right now, and I never have Wi-Fi or internet again, it will always respect my PIN, my fingerprint, whatever was already in here before it lost it. That information is in here. So it's not going anywhere until we can connect it again and then tell it something different. But until that happens, even with no connection, you'll be fine because it's just going to hold on to whatever that last configuration was. And again, I would imagine it goes without saying, but to make sure we're on the same page, if you have no Wi-Fi, if you have no internet, you're not going to be able to trigger the manual door open button that you're seeing me use right now in the app. You're not going to have that because you're not going to have. Mute. I gotta mute you. Where are you? Where's my mute?
Usted no te usa corriente. Esta usa Wi-Fi. Requiere ter bateria dentro. Sorry.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so I think I said enough about that. The next question, do you need to install a separate power to unlock the door in case of emergency? You know, I'm glad that you asked that. I was going to try to stay away from like the kind of specifics of the installation, because again, that's really up to you guys and how you want to do things. But we definitely recommend that you use separate power for your locks, not just with this reader, but pretty much anytime you're doing an access control system. We know it's very common and very popular and very easy to just share the power from the lock and the reader. And 90 out of 100 times, you're going to be fine with that. But we just don't like to take our chances here, and we don't like to tempt fate. And every once in a while, you can have some unusual behavior if you're like sharing ground loops and things like that. So to shut up already, we definitely recommend that you power the lock separate. But if you absolutely can't, we definitely see customers get away with it all the time, if that helps. Next question is, I guess it's more of a suggestion than a question. Maybe they should type questions, as this way is taking you off track and the flow is being lost. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. That's fair. I apologize. I'll try to be a little bit more concise here. Next question. If it only connects on 2.4, yes, it only connects on 2.4 gigahertz networks. At this time, this model does not connect to 5 gigahertz, only 2.4. The next question is, I asked about the logs because I wanted to use this for time and attendance for a few clients. I feel like I would be not a nice guy if I sat here and tried to position this reader to you as a time and attendance solution. I don't think that that's going to work well. If it is any consolation, we are 100% looking for a time and attendance based reader, specifically because we have many customers like yourself in that situation, and we want to be able to offer something helpful. But I'll be honest, the limitations of the log and the way that you can't really like search or create any kind of reports or anything, I personally do not see myself using the this reader for time and attendance. But you can try, and if it works out well for you, we definitely want to hear about it. And the last question, which is a perfect segue so that we can move on. How to configure the system, please. That's exactly what we're going to do next. So we are going to go into door 2, and we're going to remove the device. Oh, and while we're here, here's something that's also good for you guys to know. See how when I said remove device, now I have 2 options. I have disconnect or disconnect and wipe data. So if it's not already obvious, right? If I say disconnect, it will disassociate the reader from my app. I will no longer have access to it, but the reader will retain the information. So again, it'll be gone from my app. I won't have any access to configure or to open it manually or anything like that, but that reader will still respect whatever card, fingerprints, access cards or pins or NFC stickers. Any of those things that were already programmed will stay in there. Now, the other side of that coin is if I click disconnect and wipe data, then not only will it disassociate it from my app and from my phone, but at that point, the reader will basically be back to factory default. So that's the difference. And that's what we're going to do, because we want you guys to see how this works as if we were doing it from scratch. So, or from out of the box, rather. So I'm going to say disconnect and wipe data. I'm going to confirm. And now, none of my entry methods should work. Can you guys still see me? Okay, good. Okay, so this should not work anymore. And it did. That was interesting. Did you guys see that? Did I accidentally click on just disconnect? It's definitely not this reader, okay? Okay, well, in any event, that reader's gone from here, so we'll add it again. The way we do that, okay, so for these readers to be in pairing mode, they're only pairable They're only in pairing mode for the first, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 minutes after you power them on for, you know, security purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug my power here. And I'm going to plug it back in just to make my device pairable. And maybe this is a good time to show you guys the only thing we have connected here is 12 volts, just a red and black wire. Okay, we have our beep confirmation that the unit is back up or back, in working status rather. So I'm going to click the add button here. I'm going to say add device. It's going to show me here that it's looking for devices, and I will click add. And I can already see that we're going to have a problem here because apparently my phone latched back onto the 5 gigahertz network here, and that's not going to work. So if you'll give me just a second, I'm changing back over to ECL-ACC850, which is our 2.4 network. Here we go. So now if I X out of this and start over, you should see that it will grab onto ECL-ACC850 as opposed to ECL-ACC5, which again will not work because it's 5 gigahertz. Let me establish this connection here again with the phone, with the app, because we did lose it. Okay, so we say share again. I should be seeing the phone again. All right, perfect. All right, let's try that again. We say add device. Okay, perfect. Now we have ECL-ACC24, which is our 2.4 gigahertz network, exactly like we want. And you'll notice that there's a 10-digit password there, which I did create a just a simple version of it to be able to do this demo with you guys today. But the object here is for you to make sure that your network name and your network password are correct. Once that information has been verified and you click next, if it's working correctly, if the information you provided is correct, and if the reader is within appropriate range to tag onto your Wi-Fi network. How cool is that? See, my Alexa just notified me that we found a reader on the network. How cool is that? Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the name of this to door 2, because I don't want to have to keep telling Amazon girl over here to open my Wi-Fi access control, right? So we're going to change that. Okay, so now we are door 2. Okay. That's it. We are added. We have our reader added. It was that quick. It was that simple. It's amazing. Seem to have lost the chat box. Where did it go? There we go. Okay. Okay. So anyway, now we should be able to say, Alexa, open door 2.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Alexa, open door 2.
Please unlock. Settings.
I see. That's right. You do have to create a PIN code. So to give you guys an example, then we'll use door 1, which we already have a PIN code for, just mounted right out here outside the door. Alexa, open door 1.
What's that?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Unlocking.
There you go. So there you go, folks. It's that easy to have your unit back associated with your phone. Now, as far as adding a fingerprint or a card or an NFC, show you guys how simple that is.
My door.
Thank you. You hear that? Amazon girl just told me that she locked the door, that the door is back into lock status. It's very nice of her.
The PIN code is the same as the one that you would type into the reader?
No. That's separate. The PIN code that you just heard me give her is Alexa is Amazon girl asking you for like a security pin so that anybody can't just walk over and say, hey, open the door, if that makes sense. But that's separate from the reader pin. That's just a pin between you and her.
Okay.
Good question though. I appreciate them. Okay, so
sorry, how do we then create that pin?
That's exactly what I'm about to show you. Watch this. So we go to member manage. Here, let's say, for example, instead of using myself, well, see, I already have stuff in here, but I'll delete it all so you guys, so we can see how it is from the beginning. Of course. Oh, okay. So it's giving me the error, but it is getting rid of the stuff. You see, the cards are gone, the fingerprint's gone. Okay. So that error is the error is an error. How about that? Because everything is gone. So that's perfect. Okay. So fingerprint, no work. NFC, no work. What else? Card, right? No work. And of course, my 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 no longer works. How do we fix that? We go to member manage. And then at this point, like I was telling you guys earlier, either I can create this stuff under my account for myself, or if I'm managing it for one of my employees to be able to get in, let's use that as an example, right? We'll say add a user, Jim. I have to? I don't think I have to. Okay, perfect. So Jim, and we'll say we want to add Jim's fingerprint. So all we have to do is say start add. It's asking to present the finger a few times. wonder if me streaming this thing to the computer is breaking something, because that's usually pretty straightforward, right? Let's see, try adding the code again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Save. Okay. Looks like we took that. Okay, so there's our code. Card. We say start ad. I don't know if it took. There we go. Okay. So we save that. And this should now work. There you go. So it's basically that. We should be able to do the same thing with this card. Okay, there you go. So again, now this card should work. The sticker should work, right? So there you go. You basically just come back to this app here, and we add our users this way. I'm going to try adding the fingerprint one more time because I don't see any reason for that to have failed. There you go. Right on. Okay. Next question. Show us how to add the PIN code. Ha, I'm going to assume that that question was there for more than a few minutes. Yes, it was. Okay, cool, cool, cool. And that I have the Amazon girl in your office going crazy. I'm sorry. That's why I tried to catch myself and stop saying her name and start saying Amazon girl, because I know, yeah. I have like 5 devices in here that started talking to me that I wasn't expecting myself. All right, so talk to me. You guys have any questions? Anything I should double back and go over? Anything I forgot? Oh, let me see if my team was able to come back with the I know I owe you guys, what is it, the amount of events that can be stored. That was a good one. Okay, we may have to reach out to the engineering team for that one. That question was asked by, got it. Okay. I will make sure to get back to you, mister, about the amount of events. I will get back to you about that. Now I'm curious myself. I want to say I saw somewhere that it was like at least 1,000, but again, don't want to start rumors. So we will clarify this. We shall. Here in the me section, I don't think there was anything really worth going over. If you wanted to, you can like create groups for the readers. It's not really big advantage to doing that though. So I don't know that I would, I don't know that I need to cover anything in here too much. The message center is more like your just general notifications log that the doorbell has been triggered. You guys are not going to see intrusion detection because that's a camera that we were testing on here. But as far as the ACC850, you will see these doorbell call notifications. Okay, so somebody's asking, saw what 1,000 users, confirm? Yes, you can add 1,000 users. That is absolutely correct. Does the keypad have a tamper connection for alarm? Yes, I want to say it has what did they call it? It was like LED. It said something about yes, it has yeah, basically a tamper switch. It's just that the way that I saw it written out threw me off because it had something to do with like a light sensing diode technology or something. I think they did they implemented some cool way to do it. But to get to the point, yes, it definitely has a tamper connection that you can that at that point you can use to like trigger the output, one of the output relays or whatnot. Those the key. Right now we are using 2.4 and the 2.5. Is there a way that it can be changed to 2.4? If we're talking about the network Wi-Fi, it only works with 2.4. I've never heard of a 2.5 network. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but if it exists, our reader doesn't work with it because our reader works with 2.4. Otherwise, if I misunderstood your question, please feel free to rephrase. Does the doorbell call make a sound? It makes it, okay, so if you press the doorbell button, it here it beeps at the reader, and then here, I don't know if you can hear that. I'll try to make this a little louder. No, it's not very loud, but it is it's sending like a push notification to my phone, which I'm sure I can change the notification on the phone to something more obnoxious, more attention getting. Do I have to be on the app for it to make the sound? Nope. I'm gonna go ahead and close the app completely, like literally, like even from the background, like it's gone. It's completely gone. And yep, it still makes the sound and I still get the notification. Is this a video doorbell? No, sir. I wish I could say that this has a camera in it. I love those video doorbells, and we're definitely working on bringing in some cool stuff like now, pretty much. So we definitely should have that conversation. You definitely should ask our sales reps about our incoming video doorbells. But that is not what this is. This is a access control reader that also has doorbell function and supports fingerprint and NFC and has a lot of cool stuff, but it's not a video doorbell. No video. No. Somebody said something about the amount of fingerprints, which is, yeah, 1,000. Again, it's like the amount of users basically is the amount of fingerprints, which is 1,000. Well, okay, that's not fair, actually. I'm sorry. Let me be careful here. I see what my brain added a zero. Okay, so you can store, it's 1,000 users total, but out of those 1,000 users, you can only store 100 fingerprints. Everybody else would have to be like a card or a PIN users. So 100 fingerprints. Does it integrate with one of your video cameras? Not exactly, but we have cameras that work with that same Eclipse Home app that you just saw me managing the reader from. So if it were me, right, I can see how it would be a very elegant solution to provide our Radiant series bullet or our Radiant series turret, which are the cameras that we offer that do work with the Eclipse Home app. I can definitely see an elegant solution comprised of these readers and those specific cameras so that I can just use my Eclipse Home app to manage not only my settings and to be able to view my feed and my door lock status, but I'd also have all my push notifications, whether somebody is triggering my doorbell or my camera is, observing intrusion detection, which is, if you were in here earlier, you may have noticed that from one of my screen screen streams. But yeah, in any event, we not a direct integration, but the fact that the cameras and the readers do fall under that same app, I can see how that would be attractive to install as a package. Absolutely. Can it do like card and pin, or fingerprint and card, or fingerprint and pin? I wish you wouldn't have asked me that. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. The reason that I wish you wouldn't have asked me that is because I just found out this morning that we can do it. We absolutely can do it. The only thing that the drawback there is that, how do I explain this so that so it makes sense as short as possible? So that there's a handful of specific configuration changes that the reader will allow you to make, but the caveat is that those settings are only, how do I put it? Are only really effective if you are not using the app to manage it. And I will try my best to explain why, even though it's a little rough. To get to the point, the app itself, as you saw, lets us create pins, lets us create, add access cards, etc. But the app itself does not have a way of saying, I want the card and the pin to both need to be presented for the door to open. Now, here's where it gets a little interesting, if not weird. The reader itself absolutely has the ability to configure that option via key entry. In other words, there's a series of numbers that it's in the manual that I can go in there and I can toggle that. I can say, hey, I want card and pin, or I want, card and fingerprint. But once you start managing the reader through its own keypad, you might have dodgy behavior when you then go back to the app and you start trying to make changes that the reader is not going to 100% support. It's unfortunately, that's some of the drawbacks of having the kind of integrations that we're doing right now. If you guys are following along right now, there's things like Matter and Internet of Things, and it's a big trend now for a lot of products from different platforms and even from different literally like serve different purposes, to find some common protocol to be able to all talk to each other. And in our endeavor of having this app be able to manage cameras as well as our readers, so on and so forth, we do end up sometimes finding little details like that sometimes may take a little bit to iron out fully. So to stop rambling, right now, yes, you can set the reader to do card and pin, but you will lose some of the mobile management functionality. And I would also be lying to you if I told you I was 100% clear on exactly how that would affect things. So I would be more than happy to explore that topic with you further. If you want to email me, you know what? Let me drop my email address in the chat for you guys. If you guys think of any questions or anything that you guys want to contact me about that I can help with. But yeah, you can email me or call here and ask for me or tell your sales rep that that's something we need to clarify for you or to investigate for you, and I will definitely make it so that we get to the bottom of exactly how that's going to affect things, because that I should know by now, but that product is a little bit new to our line, and I wasn't one of the ones that was focused on it. So I do apologize, but we will get you the information 100%. Does this reader have RTE? Why is that not immediately sounding familiar to me? What is RTE? Request to, oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely has request to exit. Thank you, colleague. Yes, request to exit is built into the wiring. And that would be your yellow lead on the wiring harness. But yes, absolutely supports request to exit. Why did that's funny, RTE immediately made me think of something video game related for some reason. That was, that's gotta stay off the PlayStation. Okay. I don't see any more pending questions. But if you guys have any more, feel free to unmute yourselves or to jump in the chat. Here, another one came into the chat. Can I use two readers, one on either side of the door, named stockroom entrance and exit? Absolutely, you can. Absolutely, you can. I have two readers here on my app. Is this still being shared? It looks like yes. I have here door 1, which is just out here outside of my office. And we have door 2, which is right here in my hand. I can name these whatever I want. So yeah, I can definitely, yes, you can definitely do what you just asked. Will this work with your NVR to do snapshots? No, this does not have any camera or video capability. So no. There's no snapshots and does not integrate with the NVR. But we definitely have video intercom systems on the way, if not here already. You know, sometimes these things they get snuck past me, but we definitely have very interesting solutions for door phone video doorbell systems that will be recorded fully from our NVRs. So yes, you'll be able to do snapshots as well as full resolution, full frame rate video. Just not with this particular product. This particular product is just for access control, Wi-Fi accessibility, and app interoperability, but no video support. Not on this. That's different products. Possibly the next webinar even. All right. Unless you guys want to keep hearing me ramble, which I know at least 2 or 3 of you are fans of, because you tell me all the time in private, let's go ahead and call it a day here. If you guys think of anything else, again, you have my email address. Also, you can call here and ask for Ari. She loves fielding these kind of questions, and she's very good at it. So yeah, we're all here to help you guys out. Manny, Miguel, all here for your support needs. I'm trying to ramble, and I can't even think of anything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and say thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. Appreciate it. Have a great afternoon.